Nacho cheese just gives me the runs. So it's kind of like Spencer eating raw meatballs and just meatballs, balls, balls.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And that's how I got Skinwalker Ranch and the Bunny Ranch mixed up. By the way, if you're going for a good time, don't go to Skinwalker Ranch.
Jesus.
I mean, you'll get probed, but it's not by beautiful ladies. It's grays, aliens, lizard people.
Who could be beautiful ladies in their own respect.
Well, they probably, I mean, my mind doesn't even recognize my own brother at a live show, so I could easily be tricked.
Sorry about that, Brian. All right, well, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast. I'm Spence.
I'm Casey.
Hey, how's it going over there, Hunter?
Oh my God. Okay.
Great, good.
Sweet. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, good. Well, it's glad that we've got everybody here today and everything. Case, what's on your mind, buddy? What have you been doing there?
Oh, man, I have been just sitting around the house. I've been really lazy recently.
That's a good problem to have, man. That's a good problem to have.
I know, but I kind of want to, I don't know, I think I need to get out more. I think I'm becoming an old man that's like, get off my lawn at the age before 30.
Well, you know what, man? I did that too. I went through a phase when I was in my 20s where I was super like, and I'm not trying to be like a proponent of like drinking or going out. There's just a social aspect to like, you can hang out with your friends at bars sometimes where you might have a beer. And so, but again, don't feel like that. None of this is necessary to like drink to have a good time or anything like that. But I went through this phase in my 20s where I was super like real like anti-drinking, real anti-going out, real anti-socializing. Like I had friends, but we mostly just hung out like at the coffee shop or something like that. So I had actually a lot of like social activity, but it was all very like shut-in kind of stuff, you know, and I was usually, I think there was a period of time where I was just like super into like whoever I was dating, but I didn't go out. I very rarely met people. I always tell people at shows if there was a show or something like that. Other than that, I was super just like,
I think I'm just really afraid of being like going out and drinking at the bars. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of atmosphere. I don't know if that's a weird thing like me and my hatred of live music, even though I don't really hate live music. I'm just not a fan. And I'm wondering if maybe the fear of going out and getting too drunk and then not having a ride home kind of thing. Like, I feel like I'm always going to like drive myself, park, get somewhere and then be like, oh, I can't get home. And of course everyone's like, just get an Uber. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes like on a Saturday, it's like $40 to go from downtown to where I live.
Well, and you know, again, you got to know your limits and that kind of thing. And I think I would say this, if you're going out and like getting fucking plastered, it somehow has priority over just like socializing and seeing some of your friends. And like in my situation, like a lot of my friends like work at the bars, you know? So if I want to hang out with like our bro Hannah or our bro Shauna or whatever, like if you want to see them on a weekend, guess where you got to go? To the bar.
Yeah.
You know, but that's great news because they're wonderful bartenders and they're super fun and it's cool and like you don't have to get drunk and you know what I'm saying? Like there's again, everything's about limitations, but I know that and I think you're smart for having that consideration. Like if you don't want to just go out aimlessly and that's those people that you find at 4:00 in the morning that are like just a fucking disaster. They didn't plan.
Stumble into my lobby and be like, hey man, can I hang out here till the sun comes up?
Exactly.
So no, you can't.
I would say if you feel like you have the potential to be one of those people, don't go out.
Yeah.
But I think if you're just like a normal dude, going out can be, I think it's actually psychologically healthy to get out of your shell, out of your comfort zone and go somewhere. And I have that too, where I'll get home and it's comfortable and blah, but I feel like I'm at my worst when I'm warm and safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'll just stay there and I just sit there and I don't move and I eat and I just like self-medicate with food and YouTube and you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I do that stuff to relax a little bit, but I'm a lot better when I just like shake it off and get my shit together. Sometimes like brew a cup of coffee real quick, throw it back, like throw my ass in the shower and get ready and just fucking hit the road, you know, get out. And like, then I kind of, you know, I don't know.
I also feel like, talking about bars, I thought at the age of 29 that I would not run into, I guess you'd call it peer pressure anymore.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like I'd be away from that. But I don't know how many times I've gone out to the bars and someone's been like, what are you drinking? I'm like, nah, I'm not drinking tonight. And they're like, no, you're drinking tonight. And it's like, I'm a fucking adult, and I just told you I'm not drinking tonight. You're going to shut your mouth, and I'm going to not drink tonight.
Yeah, and I think there's a point where just like, there's a point, I think that point is adulthood, where if somebody says things like that, you just go, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
What did you say? You're being silly right now. Go away. Oh, get away from me. You're being nonsensical. You know, I do what I want. That's just like saying, hey, eat another French fry. Well, no, I'm full. No, you're going to eat. Like, what? We're adults. This is not an adult conversation. Adults decide when they do what they do.
I don't know how many times I've gone out because I don't go out often. When people see me out that I know, they'll be like, what are you drinking? And I'm like, no, I'm not drinking tonight. I'm just here to have a good time, hang out with friends. And all of a sudden they'll just bring a shot, it's like, here's a shot and a beer. And I'm like, I don't want that. And they're like, but I've already bought it. And I'm like, okay, then you drink it. And it's like, well, I don't want this. And I'm like, you're acting like this is my problem. You paid money for this because you thought I was going to drink it, even though I told you I'm not drinking anymore, or I'm not drinking tonight. And then they're like, really, you're not going to drink it? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm an adult, and that can make my own decisions. And my decision is not to drink that because I need to drive home in about 30 minutes.
What I'm getting out of this is that you have been exposed to some pretty immature peer pressure. But I don't know who's doing it. It might have been me even at some points, but
it's been a plethora of people.
I'll tell you who's really good about stuff like that is Eric Stam.
I think I'm an easy target. I think that's why. Because it's not even just one or two or three or four people. It's literally everyone I run into when I go out to the bars.
Well, I think when you show up, that signifies party.
I don't think so.
I think people remember you from Base Banana days, and I think when Casey shows up, like you have the potential to be the wildest guy in the room. Like you don't start out like that, but you have the highest. Like, we're gonna get tickled and funny. You have probably the highest tickled funny ceiling of just about anybody, and maybe only slightly rivaled by if I get around certain people. Yeah. Like when I get around people that it's easy to be silly with. Like it's like when I get around Shauna a lot. Like, shout out fucking Shauna Whited, my bro. Like when she's not working. And we start drinking, we have the potential to be really silly, like to get in trouble, not like legal trouble, but like we completely regress into childhood. And if it's funny. If there's like one of those photo booth things around, it's a disgrace. Anyway, but yeah, I think you're allowed to set your own limitations and your boundaries and stuff like that. I will tell a funny story about people buying shots or giving shots and this kind of stuff. It was a very good friend of ours, Jordan Shipley, who is now legal.
She had a lot of fun at the live show.
She did, but she had way more fun the other night. We had another friend. We all worked together, and like we had another friend that recently became of legal discretion, and so we decided we were going to take him out a little bit for kind of a birthday thing, but also we had never really gotten to take Jordan out other than the live show, and so I kind of played a thing together where I told our friend, Alea, a mutual friend, she was going to go pick him up, Jordan and this other girl. And they were going to bring him to Union Jacks, where I was already going to be with Brandon Harmon. Shout out Brandon Harmon. This is like a story of everybody that's been on the podcast. And so Brandon Harmon and I were going to play a couple Butch Walker songs. They didn't know this was happening. They just thought Alea was taking them to a bar to get their first all three together legal beer or whatever, And so they show up and like we're like, hey, what's going on? And we buy them around, and Brandon's there, and we do a couple of Butch Walker songs, and then we do one of Brandon's songs that was super fun, and like we do, and they were just like, and then we take them downtown to see Hannah, and she's working at Central Depot that night.
You don't finish the night going to see Hannah.
I mean, it was
even Hannah knows that.
It was a fucking Tuesday, okay, and just like there wasn't a lot going on, and we had to we got a late start, so we Union Jacks did a couple songs. Then we go down to Central Depot, where we love everybody, Will wasn't there that night. Shout out, Will. We love you. Fucking Hannah's there, so the girls pony up to the bar, and they start trying all kinds of things. Okay, and it's going pretty well. Everything's going pretty well. I think this was the same night that Palmer Mason was the last night in town.
Yes. And
they were kind of having a little thing. And so I start getting some texts, and they're down on Gay Street at Sutry's. Like Shauna's there, Palmer's there, and
you guys can't see it right now, but I'm slowly shaking my head because I know exactly where this is going.
Okay, so they're like already, And I want to say this is not me making fun of anybody. Jordan Shipley took it like a fucking rock star. I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, she was just saying things, but she was totally honest. She wasn't trying to be cool or like, she was just fucking straight up letting everybody know. And I would go, Jordan, tell everybody how you feel right now. Quick, go. And she would go, oh, it feels like there's needles under my eyelids and I can't really keep my balance, but I feel fucking great. No hesitation. I mean, she did everything right. Like she powered through it like a fucking champ. And by the end of it, I mean, I was completely like, I was totally her biggest fan. I was like, wow, you are actually a celebrity. You know, like you're handling this like a champ. There was no bad ending. In fact, they all did. They all took it really well. So anyway, now all of a sudden, it's a Tuesday. Central Depot is closing. And so the whole gang leaves and goes down, along with like people from Central Depot. We take them with us. We all go down to Suttrie's. And I get in this epic game of Big Buck Hunter with Sean. Anyway, people listening to this are probably going, what are these stupid people doing? Anybody that knows us knows that these are big epic rivalries in our life. Anyway, I wasn't supposed to win, and I won, and it got heated then, and it was this big thing, and they're all sitting at a table, blah, blah, blah. Near the end of the night, and people were buying Sean a tequila, and she was like, I'm done. I really don't want any more. And they just kept sitting it down in front of her. Big.
See, what is that shit?
Big.
If she says she's done, quit.
Well, these are other people that work in the industry, and you know what I mean? It's just, there's a courtesy thing. Like, you're just like, oh, you want to buy a beer? Here's a beer. And then here's a shot that you didn't even, you know, like they're just sort of taking care of each other. They're all in the industry, you know? And so she pawns one of them off on me, and I'm like, look, it's a Tuesday. Like, I got to work in the morning. Like, I'm not doing much. And so she's like, at the end of the night, and like Shipley's hanging on. She's been up since 8 a.m., went to school all day, and then like went out drinking. She doesn't have a lot of experiences. She's fucking holding on. And at the end, finally, she's leaving. Shauna comes over and goes, she sits she's got a glass of orange juice. That's her preferred chaser. And a big glass of tequila. Big. Not a little bitty shot, like a big, like probably 2 shots.
Oh, no.
Sits them in front of Jordan. She goes, happy birthday. I'm out. She fucking bails. And Jordan, with like one eye kind of open, looks down. She goes, which one goes first? And they go, the tequila. She literally just did them both. Bam, bam. Just like that. And she's like, we're done here. Straight out. And they said, and later I heard that she powered through all the way home. She didn't vomit. She didn't fall asleep, anything. She was just like, wow, I'm drunk. So anyway, there's a story about going. If you can, your preliminary going out after you turn 21 can be that heroic, I applaud you. I've never seen anybody handle it that well amongst those type of like people, you know?
Yeah. Hunter, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if there's oats in the water, then a pregnancy.
Great. I actually have a story of my own, but I'm not allowed to give out the person's name.
That's okay.
So I'm just gonna tell the story.
Do you want to use a fake name or just say the person?
The person.
Okay.
So I went out with my roommate and a good friend of ours, and the person showed up at a later time. And this is one of those situations where this person bought me an Irish car bomb after I told them I don't want any.
Jesus.
Like, I just had a big, heavy dinner. I've had 2 Guinnesses on me already. I'm full. You know, so basically I had a full dinner and 2 cans of bread. And I'm like, I'm good. I don't want another, I don't need anything else. I don't want an Irish car bomb. And they're like, drink it. I'm like, I don't want it. And they're like, drink it. They bought it for you. The person bought it for you. Drink it. And I'm like, yeah, but I said I didn't want it. So
I feel like you're going out with the wrong people. I feel like it's just not supposed to be that much pressure.
After we stop recording, I'll tell you who it is, and you'll be pretty shocked. But all the people that were pressuring me into it were already pretty buzzed.
Okay.
So they were already getting to that point.
Okay.
But it literally got to the point where they were like, drink it. And I was like, if you tell me to drink this one more time, I'm going to smash every glass on this table on the floor in a temper tantrum. And they just went, all right, we'll drink it. And I was like, thank you. So then the person proceeds to bust my balls in a drunken fashion, just lay into me about it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm a wuss. I'm a wimp. I'm not drinking. I get it. It's funny. And at the end of the night, they continue drinking, and they go, we're going to Token Gaming Tavern. And I was like, I really don't want to. I really don't want to go. And they're like, well, you're driving since you're not drinking. And I was like, please don't.
I know who it is.
I
know who they are.
Okay.
I know exactly who it is.
I was like, please don't make me do this. And they're like, it's fine. We're going to go. And I was like, but Token on a Saturday is not my kind of scene. It's like very clubby. And, you know,
Dude, Token on a Tuesday is rad. Free pinball, it's so cool.
that sounds awesome. Token on a Saturday is there's a DJ set up, and it's like they're trying to be the Valerium, I guess. But
in that tiny little game bar.
But instead of go-go dancers, it's just a bunch of socially awkward people sitting at their tables not dancing to it. So it's black lights, disco music, or techno house music.
Sure.
And then you look around, and everyone's just kind of like on each side of the wall. The boys are over here, the girls are over here, and they're all just waiting for one or the other to ask them to dance.
That's awkward dance.
Yeah. So we show up to Token, and they continue to drink. And I'm like, please quit. You guys don't do this anymore. Don't do this to yourselves. And they're like, no, it's fine. So the end of the night comes, and I am told to drive the person home, but I'm the driver. I'm the DD. So everyone hops in my car. I have my roommate next to me in the front seat, our buddy in the back, and the person who's a great friend of mine behind me.
Who also listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
They know who they are. Okay. And that's why it's so good, because I was told I could not tell this story, but I found a way to tell it because
we're not saying any names.
We're not saying any names.
Okay.
So we start driving down the road that the person's house is on, and our buddy goes, hey, it's on the left up here. And I go, okay, where? And they go, right, you just passed it. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, fine. So I go up, I go to turn around a neighborhood, and when I turn around in the neighborhood, I hear what sounds like a bottle of water dropping in the back seat. And I can't really, I guess this would be the best example of like that. And I go,
like a slosh?
Yeah, like a slosh. And I go,
slosh.
Yeah, and I go, what the fuck was that? And the person goes, shut up. And I went, why are you telling me to shut up? And the person, the
other person in the
several
back seat. People, Casey's got in the car.
Yes. So the person, the slosh comes from behind me, and the person goes, shut up. And the other person goes, and I was like, please tell me that someone just throw up in my car. And they went, shut up. No one, and everyone was telling me to shut up. They're like, just shut up, quit talking, get me home. And I said, okay.
Welcome to Uber.
So we pull into this person's house, except when we pull in, they go, this isn't my house. And I go, what do you mean this isn't your house? And they go, I'm next door. You're going to have to turn around in this person's driveway. I can't believe you pulled in this driveway. And I was like, this is where you guys told me to turn.
Meanwhile, slosh. Wait, what's going on?
Then I turn around and I make get into their actual driveway. I hear another slosh, and I'm like, no. Please tell me this isn't happening. The person gets out of the car. The other people get out of the car and help this person in. I almost said a name. Help this person in. Everyone loads back into my car. We go back to my apartment. Then I proceed to make the other two clean my car, because they're the ones feeding the person drinks. And I was like, I'm not cleaning vomit out of my car because I wanted to come home directly after dinner, and you guys made me stay out and watch you drink and then try to peer pressure me into drinking.
Amazing. Somewhere out there, somebody right now is thinking, like, Casey, if you were just better at finding my house and parking, I wouldn't have barfed in your car.
Absolutely.
But
here's the kicker. I get a phone call at 11 a.m. and I answer the phone. I don't recognize the number. I answer the phone, and the person goes, I'm a fucking asshole. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine. We got it cleaned up. They're like, I woke up and I guess I had thrown up in my shoe. I'd seen it in my shoe, and
Holy shit.
I was like, uh-oh. And then I proceeded to tell them the whole story, and they were like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to try to peer pressure you into drinking. I was like, well, drunk, you definitely wanted me to have that Irish car bomb, and I wasn't having it.
And man, I would like to say, like, I think most of the time, and that's just that exact mentality is why I don't spend a whole lot of time at like these like really wild bars. Not that you guys are at one, but that kind of thing. The people, come on, drink, you weenie, fucking, like that kind of stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that either. I'm a fan of just a like nice, comfortable, casual little spot like Central Depot where you can kind of do whatever you want and you're amongst friends, and it's not, if you want to drink, if not, don't.
That's kind of why I really like Central Depot.
They have food. Like, yeah, it's just
I show up, I sit down, and it's quiet.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
You can have a conversation with Will and not have to shout at him.
Yeah, it's a cool place, man. I generally will inhabit places like that more. I mean, and again, maybe that's in my old age. Maybe I'm so far from that fraternal type of drinking that, like, I don't know, whatever. Do what you want. I say, but I will say when you get out and you're amongst friends and everybody's having a good time and you're starting to feel it, and then you get another and you're really starting to feel it. You want everybody to feel like you, so you feel like you're having this little party. So there's a reason that bars are successful. There's a reason people go out and drink. There's a reason that the lowering of the inhibitions. And I would say that there's definitely a conversation to be had there about what's too much and what's habit forming, and at what point do you have a problem, and like at what point you know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's some people that say that it's much, much healthier to just be a social drinker out in public because you're around people and it's sort of just this little icebreaker kind of a thing, than to be one of these people that just sits at home and drinks by yourself. That actually, there are people that will tell you that kind of represents psychological trauma worse than just the occasional social drinker that doesn't have any alcohol in their refrigerator.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So they'll whatever. I mean, do what you want, but
I mean, I sit at home and drink, but usually here recently I'm live on Twitch and people can tune in and watch me get drunk, which I'm sure is also another psychological thing.
Oh, and I totally did. I totally watched you stream on Twitch. I watched you playing a game. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, I played Outlast 2, which is basically, from my understanding, is you play a cameraman and your wife is a journalist, and you guys crash your helicopter in the middle of the desert, and you're stuck between a war between a Christian, like a heavy Christian cult, religious cult, and a heavy satanic religious cult. And they're like battling each other, and it's like super gory and graphic and awful.
It was crazy looking. It was really wild looking.
Yeah, if you can tune in to Twitch and watch the whole 4-hour stream. I think like an hour and 30 minutes in, I get the shit scared out of me so bad that I had to like stop for a second.
I saw it there a couple times, and you would look down, and you would go, nope. It was good. It was really, really good. No, I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot, man. I'm so far on this side of like streaming games, and again, probably because I've just always had crappy internet connection. I've never had an internet connection where I would think about like, I really need to try gaming online.
Yeah,
never. I mean, I always knew it would lock up and it would buffer, and I'd be 3 seconds behind everybody else, and they'd be mad at me, and like, I just never did that kind of stuff. So I totally get it. And I watched it at home. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. It was kind of like getting to see the game without having to have this residual gaming experience where you have to go out and buy the game and then stage an event to play. And then hopefully you're by yourself long enough to play it. If you're not, many of you know, any of you that are married, and if you're really trying to play a 4-hour game, you're screwed. You're in trouble already. So there's just a lot of stuff like that, but it was cool to just be able to log in and see, and I was trying to be like kind of funny and comment on stuff, but I thought it was cool, man.
And over time, as people start showing up every weekend for that, tuning into the chat will be a lot more interesting because everyone will be talking in chat about other things while the game's going on. So you can have like 2 things going on.
Yeah, I totally get it.
But yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy it. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you don't have a lot of people showing up," and I was like, "It's consistency." And that's what our friend Vari told me, is just, look, at first you're not going to have anybody tune in, but you just got to be consistent. Do it every weekend that you say you're going to do it at the times you say you're going to do it, and over time you'll slowly chisel away and build a
and I actually ran into her this week too, and I think she was saying that she's got plans to go to like the I want to say it was like TwitchCon or streaming like in Florida and all this. So she's, they're planning on big stuff like that. So that's
she just got a sponsor or partnership with Consair.
Really?
It's like a keyboard mouse company.
Interesting.
I think I pronounced it completely wrong. If she's listening, I'm totally sorry. But she's got that's like super awesome. Like, congratulations, big time.
Sure. And everything these days is based on how many views and clicks and so what a weird.
I actually saw a tweet the other day that somebody put out, and they're just talking about Twitch streamers, and they're like, if Twitch streaming is your full-time job, it must be miserable. Because if you take even the smallest break, you lose viewership to somebody else, and that's no way to live.
There was a movie on Netflix kind of about that, about this girl, and it wasn't video games. She was like a cam girl.
Yeah.
But like it was that kind of this. It was, what the hell was that called?
And it's called Cam.
Cam. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it says, let's see. Cam is a technology-driven psychological thriller set in the world of webcam porn, and follows Alice, an ambitious cam girl who one day discovers she's been...
It's nuts. It's like, it's this thing where people will they pay her to like pretend to like kill herself and just all this crazy stuff. It's kind of extreme.
Shit, the pictures look fucking weird.
Yeah, it's nuts. And here's the thing is like, it's all fake. Like she's faking like cutting her own throat or like whatever. And like she's just getting all kinds of like viewers and sponsors, and she's like they've got the rankings over on the side. She's real high up, and then like somebody else like outranks her, and then but it looks just like her. Wow. And she's like, "Who? Wait." And they actually take over her whole profile, and she's like, "That's not me." And like, so there's this like weird identity theft thing going on. Anyway, it's nuts, but it's also that kind of thing where there's this desperation to always be streaming, so you don't lose your rank in the polls and all this kind of thing. So it's just that whole like the crazy part to me about all that is like how much time does a person have to A, watch, and B, like stream, to set up these streams, to always be streaming, to always be watching. Like at some point, I mean, I guess if you're making enough money doing it, then you're fine. But what about the people that are only watching? And dude, it's just so crazy. I
watch some Twitch streamers, and these guys will play Mario Maker usually. So Mario Maker is this game where people build crazy Mario maps, and then other people play them. And these guys will play it, and all of a sudden you're sitting there watching, and someone's donated $100. And then someone's like, "Oh, I'll donate 110." And then it's like this big war, and the guy's like, "Guys, stop doing this again. Like, don't do this again." And he's like, "I really appreciate it, but this is too much." And,
let
like
me ask you a question:
$100, $175, $200.
Okay, how much does it cost to just buy the game?
Mario Maker is $60. The Switch or the Wii U they play it on is probably like $200 now.
Let's say you already had the Wii or this whatever, and then $60.
$60 play the game.
Who will donate $100 to watch somebody else play a game that you could purchase for yourself, but they're only donating it to watch them play it for like
people who don't want to play the game, but want to watch it be played?
Are these just like rich princes from Dubai or something that can just throw money? Who's donating $100 fucking for a $60 game? Like
I've seen someone like they do their stream and it says top donator for the month, and the top donator for the month donated like $1,500 to this person to play
what's
video
terrifying?
games.
What's terrifying about that? I wonder how much of those donations are actually done on credit. Like how many of those come from just credit cards that they're going to have to go back and pay off with interest?
I don't know. It's absurd. People, this is their day job, where they wake up, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they sit down and play video games all day.
Well, and I can I'm not going to shit on that necessarily, because I think we're in a reality now in 2019 where we're in a thing where you play to whatever audience you have. That's where the money comes from.
Yeah.
And it's kind of always been like, I think if you go back, I'm not going to give like a fucking history lesson on commerce, but if you go back and think about it, like the way to get money was always to somebody else had it and you had to get it. You either had to do that by selling something or offering a service or performing, whatever. But it's the same now. You're just doing it over the internet, often through phones or whatever, live cams, this kind of thing. I get that. So you're still kind of having to play to your audience to get money from your audience. So that part isn't that weird. But the idea that like you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. That to me is so crazy. That the only scenario I can see where somebody would throw $100 at somebody that's playing a video game that's only $60 for just a couple of hours instead of just going and buying the game themselves and having unlimited time with it is maybe they don't have time and they're rich as fuck, super rich. This seems like the kind of thing that can only be experienced by the super rich.
Or somebody who's there. It's like your parents are super rich and you just sit at home and watch. This is what you do in your downtime because you're, maybe not as social as...
Well, and then to me, that's the same thing. If you're born into a super rich family, you're super rich.
But it's...
Even if you say, oh, I'm not rich, my parents are bullshit. So you still live in that fucking house. You still have... And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, that's... I watched a video earlier on YouTube where this girl was breaking down, like, privilege, like, different kinds of privilege. And it's like, now they said that there's, like, a thin privilege. Like, if you're thin, you have privileges that bigger people don't have. And she was like, you have the privilege to not eat that donut. So, get at me. But like, and she said the only actual privilege is like class privilege. That and I can kind of see that too. Like where you were born and what kind of a family you were born into. Like that's sort of the only uncontrollable privilege that anybody has.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't really think that. Again, somebody's going to go, well, you tell me there's not white privilege and white. I'm not saying that also falls under class privilege. There's also a lot of black people that are born extremely rich, more well off than I was born. So I think class privilege is a real thing. So that's probably who's doing the streaming and or who's throwing tons of money at streaming. But that's not the fault of the streamer.
No. And that's the thing. And I was going to say is
if you're that fucking good at, like what you said, Mario Builder, or what is it? Mario Maker. If you're that good at it that somebody will pay you $100 to like do something, fucking do it.
Yeah.
If you have that's a marketable skill. Who wouldn't take money for that? Like if somebody walked out, like what's something you just feel like you're good at? Just anything. Go.
Shooters. Probably like
shooter games.
Yeah, just like most first-person shooters, I'm pretty well off in.
Okay, and if you just have somebody who goes, hey man, I'll give you $100 to like try to get through that. I've never seen anybody make it through this level of like
100%, I'd do it.
Who wouldn't go? All right, put the money on the table. All right, let's fire this bitch up.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and that's the thing is these streamers. The thing I think they not only because they play the games consistently, but I think these people pay them for their personality because they just like these people. That people are nice. They're consistent as well. They're always they have their schedule and they always show up. And these people basically pay. And there's subscription services like I know most streamers have like $5 a month. Give me $5 a month. I'll make sure to like have these videos on YouTube out. I'll be on Twitch these days. And that's just all they do. They sit there, they play video games, they edit. They stream videos, then they edit. They play video. That's all they do.
Yeah. Online celebrities are like that. Look, they must spend all their time like just making videos and editing.
That's like influencers on Vine or Instagram and things like that. They get money by sponsoring makeups, like the Kardashians and the Jenners. They constantly make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Being like, I use this lipstick, put in this code now and buy lipstick for 10% off. And it's like a $200 stick of lipstick. And somebody will do it, get 10% off, and then they get a huge cut of that commission.
Because there's a whole generation of kids raised on smartphones that aren't looking at actors and actresses the way we did growing up.
No.
They're looking at people like the Kardashians.
They don't watch cable. They just watch YouTube and streams and Netflix and Hulu. And the only way that these people can advertise to them is through Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook.
And here's what, okay, here I'm going to sound like the old fucking shitty guy like I always do here, but that's fucking scary to me because the quality of the content. Now, I'm not saying any of these like internet and YouTube celebrities aren't good because I'm fans of a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of like YouTube celebrities. I can't wait for the next video to come out and whatever. I think they're hilarious. Anyway, but when the bar is so low that all you did to achieve your celebrity status was just have a camera or have a laptop, no training,
or 4 microphones and a mixer.
Man. But that's true. But are we celebrities? Nobody's given us $100,000 to
not yet.
What kind of lipstick we use, you know? And I'm not going to tell you guys what kind of lipstick I use until somebody does pay me. So eat shit.
Ask the pig.
That's right. Fucking Hunter, what type of lipstick do you use?
That's fair. 1 second, Spencer. It's really.
That's what I thought. I figured as much.
I wouldn't have guessed it. I would have thought it was a much darker shade. Anyway, no, what I'm saying, Frank Zappa used to tell people that were kissing ass that they wore brown lipstick. Anyway, so fucking anyway, no, but like back in the day, not all celebrities were great. And I wasn't just automatically a fan of every actor, every actress, every musician, every singer, every dancer, you know, blah, blah, blah. But there was training, you know, that went into this kind of stuff. Like you had to at least sometimes go to university to learn how to be an actor or an actress. Like you had to study classical literature, or if you wanted to be a musician, you didn't have to necessarily take classical training, but you had to at least slog it out in the clubs, like working on your craft and your talent. So most of the time, by the time you saw somebody on MTV when it was real, like you were looking at a fucking expert. Like it was impressive to see these people that achieve celebrity status, you know? And like now, you've seen somebody that may be impressive to you, but they just have a laptop. And I guess I don't know. It doesn't all fit in one box. And I know some of them are impressive like that, but just moving forward, like that seems crazy.
Yeah.
That seems like we're so close to one of those weird worlds, like in like the Hunger Games or in whatever. We're just like the weirder, crazier, like that whole thing when Jerry Springer show was so big, when people just wanted to watch train wrecks on TV.
Yeah.
And you thought, God, that's so lowest common denominator, you know, for fucking America. Like that's what people really want to watch. That.
Well, now you have World Star, which is nothing but fight videos.
It's true.
Jerry Springer turned into World Star.
It's true, because it was taking too long for the interview. They just wanted to see the fight.
It's like, Jerry, we don't care about their feelings. Make them fight.
Yeah. Dude, man. But that's where, I don't know, the webcam society that we're getting into. But again, if that's what people are looking at, again, it all comes down to the money. The money companies are going to go, who's getting the most views a day? I don't care if it's like, is it movies? Is it Netflix? Is it YouTube? What is it? And then who's the biggest star on there? Okay, get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Send them a box of our shit. Tell them if they like it, we'll give them $3 million to talk about it on their thing, you know?
And what's so crazy is that, I mean, I made a joke a minute ago about it, but that's kind of what we're doing. It's
I'd love it. I'd love it.
I'd love it if this was my day job.
I'd love it.
To come down here every day and just record an episode and then just upload it.
Yeah.
Why not? That sounds amazing. And then go home and make a video game video or make a short video and edit it and throw it up. That would be great.
Sure.
I would absolutely love that.
I would love it too. And I think I would try to.
However, I would hate being under the microscope. And I think that's the problem. That's the big issue with these streamers is you can't say anything that you want. You have to, you have to be super careful. If you say one thing that someone gets mad at, you're done. That's it. I mean, you might have to wait a week and then people will slowly start coming back. But that one thing will be, you're out. You're done.
What a strange, I don't know. I'll tell you what, switching gears just a little bit, something I wanted to talk about. There were, speaking of online personalities and that kind of stuff, one of my all-time favorites is no secret is Joe Rogan. And this past week,
Alex Jones,
there were 3 things on the Rogan show. And it was, in my opinion, it was the most mind-blowing week of podcasting I have ever experienced since I started listening to podcasts, or really almost interviews in general. Okay. The big obvious one was the Alex Jones episode where, holy shit, he lost his mind. I mean, he went fucking nuts. They started fucking with him at one point, and they've got Rogan and his friend Eddie Bravo, and Bravo starts fucking with Alex Jones, and man, the guy loses it. He absolutely catches on fire and goes, and then they calm him down a little bit, and it gets so fun. And Rogan's just in tears. He's in tears crying out how funny it is. If anybody just go watch it. And they've got it in little clips too, so you don't have to watch the whole 4-hour long episode or whatever. You could watch just like the clip of like Joe Rogan. Just type Joe Rogan Alex Jones. You'll get all the clips. And like, man, it was, I couldn't believe. And literally, if you go down to the comments were just like best podcast in history. It's all downhill from here. Every podcast pales in comparison to this one episode. Like, this was it. This is the peak of podcasting. And then like 3 days after that, they had David Lee Roth on, who is at times the most intelligent, enlightened human being I've ever ever listened to speak. And literally by the end of the same sentence, certifiably crazy. Like, he'll go in and out of these, and he does this maniacal laugh, and it's so weird and uncomfortable, but then he says all this real prolific shit. Like, this guy has seen a part of life that very few people ever get to see. He's achieved a level of celebrity that most people never even get close to. And so he's had all these experiences, and he tells this story like where he went and he became an EMT, like I think in Sacramento or something, just one of the guys, and he had to clean the shit off the truck and like go into these burning buildings and save crackheads, and like he was just on the team, and he did it to get more experience. But this guy keeps just adding all these layers to his like experience. Like, once he's done with that thing, he'll go do this other thing, and he'll go do this other thing, and it's just so crazy. But that was one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever heard, because Rogan keeps asking him, well, what about this? What about the cultural influence that you guys had, and how did you? And just to hear somebody like him tell stories is fucking incredible. But he's also a little crazy, so you don't really know. And then he'll get deadly serious, and he'll look Rogan like straight in the eyes, and it's the most intense thing. And he says this real prolific shit, but then he'll start just telling crazy. He goes into this like weird vaudeville act. Like, David Lee Roth is this like weird vaudevillian guy, but. So that, and I texted Hunter, I may have texted you both, and I said, I thought Alex Jones was the craziest thing I was going to see this week. And then the David Lee Roth episode came out. But the one that really that I keep watching over and over, I was watching it on the way down here, the one that came out before Alex Jones, and it was Dr. Phil. Oh,
I saw the clip where they talk about the Catch Me Outside girl.
Dude, well, that was funny, but he goes in, it's one of the most like, I don't know. It was one of I felt like I learned so much by watching that episode. Like, that guy is so good. And whether you like Dr. Phil or Oprah or what, I don't give a shit about Oprah Winfrey, but like, no matter what you think about Dr. Phil, okay, this guy has so much knowledge about psychology. And not just that, like how to tell if people are lying. And he can tell you all this stuff about behavioral patterns, but he's got it boiled down to such a freaking palatable, like he's able to talk to you just like a normal guy. And he's clearly not a normal guy, but he can just say these things to you where he just sounds real cool. And he's got this like kind of like Southern drawl, like this Texas accent that makes you almost feel like it's just real easy to listen to him. There's nothing intimidating about him, but he just says all this prolific shit, and he says it real cool. Like he's got this veneer of like calm and just coolness to him. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain, but the stuff he's talking about, like the reason people like kill themselves and like what happens in a trial if somebody's lying and just all this kind of stuff. And it's like you're just hanging on every word because it's so easy to listen to. And like, I don't know that I've seen very many people, maybe anybody, that's that good. And like Rogan is just like captivated by everything he's saying, and like, but he's cool, and it's still funny sometimes, and it's fun to hear like Dr. Phil cuss.
But
that's the one that like, if I had to tell anybody right now, go watch one podcast like on YouTube, go watch the Dr. Phil on Rogan. Man, it's really good. And I don't care who you are, what stage in life you're at. There's going to be something in there for you.
Yeah,
definitely going to be so. Like one thing he said that I keep waking up every day with this playing in my mind. He's talking about the differences, and he knows tons of famous people because he's super famous. But like, he'll say like, he goes, man, the biggest difference, he goes, in all these people that are like winners and people that are not. He goes, look, everybody's not equal. As bad as people want to fight for that, we're not all the same. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses, and your job as a human is to find your strengths and play to those strengths. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be a point where you realize you're just not, when you get around guys like Kevin Durant, you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to be a basketball star. This guy is. I'm going to go find what I'm good at. But you've got to find your lane and get in it. But that's how you get through life. He talks about that. But he goes like, and he'll say, man, he goes, but the biggest difference between people that are like winners and losers, and he talks about like the quarterback, Tony Romo, like that guy, again, love him or hate him, like if something goes wrong in the game, if somebody intercepts one of his passes, like that fucking guy will be at the training arena at 1 a.m. throwing that pass all by himself. He can't handle the fact that like somebody intercepted, like they just can't handle losing. And Michael Jordan was like that too. But they talk about like the big difference between like winners and losers is that just winners are willing to do things losers aren't willing to do. And by saying losers, I'm not trying to call people that like don't want to go to the training facility at 1 a.m. Oh, you're a loser. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like the people who win and the people who don't win, it's not by accident. Like they put in more hours. They put in more work. They did stuff that everybody else just went home.
Yeah.
Everybody else just wanted to be comfortable, and these fucking people just did it. Well, they're the ones that get to the finish line first, you know. But he talks about like the psychological evidence of that. But it was freaking fascinating. Just the breadth of information. And apparently, he's starting a podcast now too.
Really?
Yeah.
I just recently discovered David Tennant has a podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the Doctor Who guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like one of my favorite actors, and it's like David Tennant does a podcast with. And he's already had like Whoopi Goldberg on. He's had Olivia. Oh man, what's her name? She just won an Oscar for The Favorites. I can't remember. I'm terrible. She's in Hot Fuzz too. Actually, talking about the Joe Rogan podcast. Before Dr. Phil, there was Donnell Rawlings, and I love that episode. He's the guy that did. He's the guy that did Dave Chappelle's show. He's the I'm
I
rich
saw it.
Bitch guy.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny.
I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
He told so many. He was Ashy Larry on the World Championship of Dice skit. One of the greatest skits ever done. And they've had this powder all over him. He doesn't actually look like that, but it looked like his skin was so dry. Dude, it was so fun. Even in the middle of the robbery, like when he shows up and Charlie Murphy's like robbing everybody else, and they stop and they look at him. He goes, "Damn, get some lotion." I think that guy is so funny.
He was great, and he was making all these jokes, and Joe Rogan just would lose it, just like
Yeah.
horse laughing. So
Yeah, dude. I like it when people get Rogan tickled because Rogan has the ability to get like real serious. I like Rogan. I think Rogan's a fucking great guy.
Yeah.
Like he can really get on the level with a lot of people. I think he's got like a big heart. I think his heart's in the right place with most people, you know.
he does change his stance on a lot of things depending on the guest he has. I've
Yeah,
seen
well,
that. But
and you kinda
I think
have
that's like you have to do that as an interviewer.
Well, they had somebody on there that was somebody came on there and was totally trashing. It was this. Pardon me for being opinionated, but this is my podcast, just like it's Casey's podcast. So they had this friggin' ding dong from the New York Times on there, and she was totally trashing Tulsi Gabbard for being raised in like a religious family, something like that, and like, and he was receptive of what she was saying, but he was sort of like, hey man, like just so you know, I've had Tulsi on here, and I really like a lot of things she has to say, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what was it you didn't like? And then the girl totally fell apart. She's like, well, I think she said this. Didn't she say that? I don't know. I don't actually know what she said. And like, she just like crumbled. But you're right. And I mean, you know, if it's your guest, you have to kind of go, oh, really? You think that? Or why do you think that? You know what I mean? You can't just like.
Well, the moment she announced that she was running for presidency in 2020, there was slander already.
Yep. Slander campaigns.
Yeah. She tweeted this out 10 years ago. She tweeted this out, and I was just like, here it goes.
I've said this on the podcast once before, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna commit to it this time. I'm gonna prepare a list of things she said in her like announcement speech, because she said things you're not gonna hear any other candidate say. And they talked about just things like the deep state and like I'm talking stuff that like is edgy, like stuff that JFK, Rand Paul, like guys like that talked about, like the real Dennis Kucinich talked about that sort of stuff. All the libertarian guys, all the independent guys talked about it, you know, like Ralph Nader, like, I mean, the stuff that, you know what I mean? The people that are actually trying to get the truth out, she talked about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you, there's another guy, Andrew Yang. I really like this guy. Okay. And he's like super not the type of monetary policy that I usually like. Everybody knows I'm a big libertarian.
I saw him on Rogan as well.
Dude, he's so smart. So smart. And now the left is turning against him too. But he's got this thing where he was one of the guys that wanted there to be a universal basic income where everybody, as long as you're a citizen, you get $1,000 a month. And it would raise this massive, like, you know, $3 billion, whatever. It was going to cost a lot to do that. And people are like, why would you do that? And he starts explaining, like, at first it sounds crazy. It sounds like one of these super socialist type things, you know, like the ridiculous Green New Deal, which is the worst idea that's ever been, you know, again, sorry for my opinion, but if you look into the Green New Deal, you're going to find that it's pretty terrible. But anyway, Andrew Yang he's the only guy that I've heard talk about what's supposed to happen in the next like 15 years. And so many jobs are going to disappear because they're going to be automated. And he's been hanging out with like truck drivers and stuff. And the truck drivers are like, yeah, by 2030, it's supposed to be all robot trucks. Like, and that's something like, I can't even say how many people, like lots of people in the United States just out of a job, good paying jobs too.
Yeah.
With like no other skill set, like, and they're probably between 30 and 50. What do you do if you've already got a mortgage and a family? You know, so he's answering a lot of these things. He's like, so we've got to start by doing this, and then you have like a certain tax that, he would have to find out a way to tax companies like Amazon and Netflix. Finally, you know, but it would pay for itself. But everybody would start out with like a little bit of money, and then they would invest that into smart stuff, whatever. But he's the only guy this guy can rattle off percentages and statistics, and he's real likable. But I would love to see a ticket that was like Tulsi Gabbard with Andrew Yang as her vice president or something, or even those two vice versa, something like that. She seems like more of the brave leader type, and he seems more like the pragmatist, you know. But I really like both of them a lot.
Now let me ask you this, because I brought this up before, and someone asked me, they're like, "What about trade skills? Is that going to be automated soon? Like someone come out and fix your plumbing?"
Was this on their episode?
No.
He talked about that.
Really? What did he say?
He said there are some trade skills that are so complicated that they cannot be automated, like plumbing.
Yeah.
Like just
AC units.
Yeah, when something goes wrong with your plumbing in your house, then the network of pipe and stuff that goes through under the floor, and it's so vast that you have to detect the leak, figure it out, crawl through a fucking whatever, a crawl space, and then have a big set of tools to use. It's going to be, I mean, one day maybe, but we're talking like over 100 years from now before there's actually a robot that can come out, listen to your story, walk around the house, find the wet spot, think about it, apply the set of tools, morph itself into something that can fit through a crawl space. There's just too many there's too many steps.
Yeah.
But apparently, operating like a truck or like robot-driven cars and stuff like that, apparently that's a lot more attainable. That's like, that's right up the road.
Yeah.
But something like there will be certain trades that cannot be automated, and some of these trades are going to be working on the robots that are driving the trucks.
I've even seen some where hotels are getting rid of staff, and they're just automating. What you do is you reserve your room, and they send you an email on your phone, and it has like a QR code, and you take that code, you go up to the room you have reserved, and you scan the code or type in the number on the door that you got the email for, and it'll let you in the room, and you have the room for the designated days, and you never get your keys, you never check in, that you just go into the hotel, go to your room, type in the code, and go.
Yeah, and that's
there's already hotels like that, out west that are doing that, and there's no front desk staff, house clean. I mean, they have housekeepers, but other than that,
I wonder what happens if you just need toilet paper. The housekeeping takes care of that, I guess. I
guess there's someone that hangs out, or there's like a dispensary. You go up and type your code in, and it, like a vending machine drops your toilet paper out. I don't know how that works, but I do know that there are hotels now that don't have front desk and checking in. You check in through your phone, and you never interact with a human. Which I guess, I mean, I've worked customer service my whole life.
Yeah,
and in a lot of instances, I really enjoy working with people and having that one-on-one interaction. However, in the same sense, I fucking hate it because you have these nice people that will talk to you. They know that you're working and they have respect for you. And then there's some people who just think that you're there for them and only them.
Right. That you basically are like a automated, they treat you like a vending machine.
Yeah. It's like something goes wrong and it's like, well,
sure.
What can you do? I saw a post the other day where someone was like, here's things that your cashier are not responsible for. Prices, something's not in stock, your coupon not working, and your card declining. Grow the fuck up.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Man, and I don't know. We're definitely moving into that. They call it, there's a name for all this. This is all patterned out in sociology studies, where it's they call it the cocoon phase. You're getting more and more where we're surrounded and we're enveloped by our technology. So we're being covered up. It's like instead of a blanket, you lay a bunch of laptops and smartphones on yourself, with VR goggles, and you don't have to interact with the world as much anymore. Everything turns out to be this very cerebral. And what's funny, we did an episode where we asked, do you think we're in a simulation? And we were like, maybe yes or maybe not. But
I think so.
Well, here's the thing: even if we're not, we're entering one because everything is all of a sudden it's going to be virtual and not real, and you won't have to see a person when you go to the hotel and do all this. Because,
if the elephant in the room is pregnant, does that mean there's two secrets?
I mean, I know either if you can't beat them, join them. I get it. Eventually, you have to get on the boat or you become obsolete. I get that. But I wonder, I don't know. I just wonder how much of that, social, being socially inept like that is good for a human being. And at what point not being able to imagine the amount of anxiety people get when they see each other, when they haven't seen a person in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to the American family? How are people going to date and have kids and talk and work things out? And
maybe it'll be all virtual. Maybe you'll put on the movie Ready Player One. Maybe it'll be something like that, where you just meet in a virtual world and have this second life, and you just you're just stuck in a chair, and that's or like WALL-E. you're huge, fat. You have no bone structure anymore, and you're just sitting in this chair, and there's a screen in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. I mean that looks like where we're heading. But what we know, if you talk to smart doctors and stuff, they will tell you that as exciting and as futuristic as that, that's not good for people.
No.
That you will catch diseases and you will die and your health will deteriorate and all this stuff. Your psychology deteriorates if you can't interact with other people. And I don't know, it looks a little unhealthy heading in that direction. But
Oh, it's kind of scary. I think the thing I learned from this is I need to learn how to be a plumber or learn how to fix AC
Pipe fitter,
units.
Well, and yeah, there's more sense in going into the trades now than there ever has been. There's just way more jobs that pay like extremely really well, stuff like that, and they just can't find enough people to do it, and it's not a bad gig. But people are afraid of saying they have a blue collar job.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is like you got a lot of people that like go to college 4 years or 6 years or whatever like that, and they rack up $80,000 in student debt.
And they go for a job, and the person goes, "Do you have any experience?"
And they have no experience, or they land like a really mediocre $30,000. And again, whatever you make, like I'm just saying if you've spent $80,000 to $100,000 on college, you're hoping to land like at least a 6-figure job or something where you could pay that off. The truth of the matter is most people get out of college and they either like drive Uber or they can't find a job, and they do find a job and it pays pretty low.
Yeah.
Like it's on the low end of the 5 figures. And then they're just in debt. They settle all this incredible debt and it just sucks. And like they just go job to job, and we've created a nation of like very, very articulate, intelligent Uber drivers that are just trying to like get the bills paid.
And voice their opinions.
Yeah.
You ever been in an Uber and someone tried to talk politics?
Oh yeah, I've been in Uber and had people just bitching, but most of the Uber drivers I've had have been pretty nice. But the sad thing is, I think you can go to school for like 2 years, year and a half, something like that, become a crane operator. They'd start out at like $120,000 a year, definite job security with tons of benefits and all kinds of stuff. You just like, you know what I mean? But you're going to work on a construction site or something like that, and like I don't know, people just think, well, I don't want to do dirty work, but you're going to work for a third of that. You know what I mean? And
have a cubicle.
Yeah, in a fucking cubicle. Like, again, this doesn't apply to everybody, and I know there's different layers. This is just an objectionable scenario.
Do you think colleges are on their way out?
No, because there's lots to learn. And not only that, there's a status quo to it. There's certain, like, if you don't go to college, you're going to be looked down on, and there's a whole kind of a thing. I think what's going to happen is it's going to become more universal. And I think if guys like Andrew Yang that really understand like what the economy is going to look like 10 years from now, because of things like automation, and a lot of that stuff will be free.
Yeah.
Or will be paid for in other ways. Or
it's like Pellissippi already has free college.
Do they?
I think you have to pay for your books. But from my understanding, they have free classes, like tons of them. You can get a degree on basically nothing.
Interesting. So I think it's going to be a lot more people that want to learn. Yeah. That understand the value in it, rather than being forced to go. They don't really know, or it's just this big 4-year-long party to get like a liberal arts degree or something. Like,
well, I just find it weird. Like, I was looking into the ESL program, which is English Second Language.
Yeah.
Which is basically they send people over to mainly Asia, I believe, like China, South Korea, Japan, Thailand, places like that. And you go and you teach kids over there English for a year. And when I was looking it up, from my understanding, if you go to college, you get paid a little bit more.
Yeah.
But for me, being almost 30 and not having gone to college but got a high school degree, I was talking to some people about it. I was like, do they even want someone like me to go over there and teach English? And they say yes, because most college students want to go over and they think it's a vacation and they want to go party.
Sure.
Like most of them do. They know you are going to come over there and work. You're going to want to go over there. You're going to want to work. You're going to want to show up. You're going to want grade papers. And you're going to be into it.
Sure.
So,
I would say that. I'd say that's that's probably solid advice for just about anybody. Like, if you, I would say to anybody that wants to do anything, and this includes going to college and graduating and whatever. Like, there's no wrong idea as long as, like, again, like we were talking about Dr. Phil, figure out what you're good at and like get in that lane pretty soon. I think as long as you put your best foot forward, like it doesn't matter what you look like or how old you are, or like just if you're prepared to do the thing better than the next guy, you can win.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I mean, again, there's like, I don't know, there's like ups and downs and there's setbacks, and everybody's going to have setbacks, but in the long run, like over the course of like 5 or 6 experiences, like if you're prepared to, like we said, to be the winner, if you're prepared to do stuff the other guy's not prepared to do, you can beat him.
Yeah.
To the job or to the raise or to the promotion or to the innovation or whatever. Like I still think that there's okay. I think, and it's terrible to hear people go, well, I waited too long and blah, blah, blah. That's another thing. Like, God, I'm going to quote this fucking podcast until they don't even need to go watch it. But that's another thing. Dr. Phil's telling Joe Rogan, okay? And he said, and we'll kind of wrap up here in a minute, but like he said, look, the thing is, he goes, you have these people that just feel defeated. Like they have a distorted personal truth. They go, well, I'm just so far, like it's been so long since I was in school, like I can't go back now, or blah, 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 I've got all these things to do. I don't have time. Or they just, you tell yourself all this stuff. He goes, but man, here's the thing. The next 12 months, the next year is going to come no matter what you do. No matter what you do. So if you're sitting there right now going with all these bad habits and things you wish you would have done, or I'm going to get to it someday. And if you keep doing that in a year, you're still going to be where you are or worse. But if you just do something, just anything, these little changes, then over the course of a year, you're going to look back and go, wow, I'm way better off than I was in February.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because that makes it real easy to not be intimidated by, I need to go get an education, or I need to go start a business, or I need to go get in a relationship. Those sound like big, scary things, especially when you're tired and you're just you just want to kind of be left alone, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To think I need to have this massive undertaking. But if you break that down into well, by the end of the week, I'm going to do one thing. I'm just going to make this phone call, or I'm going to join that dating site or something. And if you go, I'm going to do that here, and by the end of this week, I'm going to do that thing. And then we're just going to see where that leads. That was another big, these podcasts I keep going. David Lee Roth talking to him during his podcast. And he goes, Joe, this isn't bad, David Lee Roth. But he goes, Joe, I used to when I lived in New York City, some days I would just walk out and I would go wherever the sun pointed. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, well, I'd go to the end of the corner and there would be the next corner, wherever the sun was shining. I would go there. And then when I got there, I would look around and I would look down the block and I would see wherever the sun was shining the brightest. And I would just go there. And it just led me to places normally I wouldn't have gone. But I went. And that's a key. And then he does this maniacal laugh. And it's real creepy.
Don't ever do that again.
That's what he does. But he'll say this prolific shit and then do that fucking laugh. Watch the video. It's great. But that's what I'm saying. If you just go to one place, do one thing, and you keep doing that, for a while, you'll wind up in a different place than you are now. And it's not hard, and it doesn't have to be this big thing, and you could do it on your day off or whatever. Start that hobby, take that first guitar lesson or.
So if I ended up doing this ESL program and I went, say I went to South Korea for a year, you think we could handle this podcast over Skype for a year?
Yeah, I think so, as long as you spoke English.
Yeah, I would have to. And I was I feel like that'd be such a culture shock to go and just talk to these people who are staring at you and know they have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
I don't know. But I also think it'd be kind of interesting to go overseas for a year, just to experience a whole new culture for a year.
I'm sure it would. Hey, Hunter, what do you think? How do you think it would be to go overseas?
Nacho cheese just gives me the runs. So it's kind of like Spencer eating raw meatballs and just meatballs.
Whoa, man, That is okay.
Well, I think on that note, we probably should wrap up here.
All right.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening again to another episode of the Beacon House podcast. And we encourage you guys to hit us up on social media, to watch Casey's streams on the weekend. Was it 10 to 2, Friday and Saturday night?
10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays.
And tell them the web. Is it Twitch/Beacon, The Beacon House?
Twitch.tv/The Beacon House or / The Beacon House.
So that means if you want to see Casey play a certain game or a scenario or something like that, let us know.
Yeah.
Hit us up, Twitter, social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just let us know.
If I don't get told what game to play, if I don't have a particular one that people want to see me play, usually Fridays I'll play adventure games or horror games, and then Saturdays I usually play multiplayer games.
Yeah, and I would love to do one where we're all on there playing it together, so we can talk a lot of trash.
I'm actually saving Alien Isolation for me, you, and Hunter to sit down and play.
Okay, I'm in. All right, cool. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Beacon House Podcast, and we'll see you guys. I can't think of a good ending.
Shut up, Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter, stop it.
Well, because they have beaks, I'd rather have a squid's tentacle go up my butt.